The Disappearance of Amelia Earhart, 1937. The Pacific stretched wide and endless, a vast horizon of blue where sky and sea blurred into one another. Over those waters, a silver Lockheed Electra hummed through the morning air. At the controls sat Amelia Earhart, focused and steady, while her navigator Fred Noonan studied charts beside her. The radio hissed and crackled, a lifeline between them and the world. Then her voice came through, clear but tense. "We are on the line 157 to 337. We are running north and south." Static swallowed the words. Then came silence. No one ever heard from them again. Amelia Mary Earhart's story began far from the ocean, in Atchison, Kansas, in 1897. As a child, she was not content to sit quietly with dolls. Instead, she climbed trees, scraped her knees, and collected newspaper clippings of women who defied expectations. From the beginning, she seemed destined for a life that refused to be ordinary. That destiny revealed itself in 1920, when Amelia attended an air show in Long Beach, California. For $10, she bought a short plane ride. The moment the aircraft lifted off, she felt it in her bones. This was where she belonged. Soon, she scraped together enough money for flying lessons, working odd jobs to pay for fuel and instruction. She bought her first plane, a bright yellow biplane she called the Canary. Soon after, she began setting altitude records and drawing attention from the press. By the 1930s, Amelia was a household name. She became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic, wrote books, and spoke publicly about aviation and women's independence. She stood as proof that courage and ambition knew no gender. But Amelia was not one to linger in past triumphs. She dreamed bigger, always. Her greatest dream was to circumnavigate the globe along the equator of feet. No woman and very few men had attempted. With sponsors, engineers, and her navigator Fred Noonan, she prepared her Lockheed Electra for the challenge. The twin-engine aircraft gleamed silver in the sun, modified with extra fuel tanks to carry them across oceans. In May 1937, the journey began from Oakland, California. Crowds cheered as the Electra lifted into the sky. Over the weeks that followed, Amelia and Fred traced a route across South America, Africa, India, and Southeast Asia. They battled dust storms in Sudan and monsoon rains in India. From the cockpit they watched jungles and deserts sweep beneath them. By the end of June, they had traveled more than 22,000 miles. Only 7,000 remained. The most perilous leg was next. Ley, New Guinea, to Howland Island, a tiny speck of land in the Pacific, no more than 2.5 miles long. Finding it would be like finding a needle in a haystack. On June 29th, the Electra landed in Ley. Mechanics checked it over. The aircraft was heavy with fuel, straining its wings for what would be the longest ocean flight yet. On the morning of July 2nd, 1937, engines roared awake. Amelia waved goodbye before climbing into the cockpit. The plane lifted, disappearing into clouds. Hours passed. Below them stretched nothing but water. Fred charted headings, but cloud cover blocked celestial navigation. Waiting at Howland was the Coast Guard cutter, Itasca. Its operators strained to pick up Amelia's voice on the radio. At first, her messages came through faintly. She was flying on schedule, trying to pick up their signals. As the hours dragged on, her voice grew tense. "We must be on you but cannot see you," she said. Then, at 7:42 a.m., her final confirmed words came. "We are on the line 157 to 337. We are running north and south." Then nothing. The Itasca crew searched the skies in vain, launching smoke flares, scanning with binoculars. No sign of the Electra appeared. Back in Washington, alarm spread quickly. President Franklin D. Roosevelt ordered the largest air and sea search ever attempted at the time. Navy ships, planes, and patrols swept more than 250,000 square miles of the Pacific. The ocean gave nothing back. No floating wreckage, no parachutes, no oil slick. After 2 weeks, the official search was called off. The verdict: Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan were lost at sea, but the world refused to let the mystery rest. The simplest explanation was also the most heartbreaking: that the Electra ran out of fuel and ditched into the Pacific, sinking quickly into the deep. Yet the lack of evidence gave rise to other possibilities. In 1940, British colonial officials exploring Nicomaroro, a remote coral atoll southeast of Howland, discovered skeletal remains near what looked like a makeshift campsite. Beside them lay a woman's shoe, a sextant box, and other artifacts. At the time, the bones were declared male, and the case dismissed. Decades later, forensic reanalysis suggested the remains could have belonged to a woman of Amelia's build. Some researchers believe Amelia may have crash-landed on the island's reef and survived there for days or weeks, hoping for rescue. Radio operators at the time even recorded faint distress calls, possibly her voice fading into static. If true, Amelia's last days were not in the air, but stranded on a lonely atoll, staring out at the horizon, waiting for help that never came. Another theory gained traction: that Amelia and Fred had strayed farther north and landed in the Marshall Islands, then under Japanese control. Eyewitnesses later claimed to have seen a woman resembling Amelia in custody. Some said she was executed as a spy. Others insisted she lived out her life under another identity. In 2017, a grainy photograph resurfaced, showing figures on a dock in the Marshall Islands. Some believed it showed Earhart and Noonan. Experts debated fiercely. Some saw proof, others saw coincidence. Still others suggested Amelia's entire world flight was a cover for a U.S. intelligence mission to survey Japanese-held territory. If true, her capture would have been a political secret, hidden away on the eve of World War II. A woman named Irene Bolam was even accused in the 1960s of being Amelia, living under a new name. She denied it, sued, and won. Yet the rumors never fully disappeared. The mystery has haunted every generation since. Expeditions to Nicomaroro continue. Sonar scans of the Pacific floor still search for the Electra's wreckage, and researchers pore over old maps and radio logs. Each new claim promises closure, but the answer always seems to slip away. And so Amelia's story became more than history, it became legend. She was no longer just a record-setting pilot, but a ghost of the Pacific, an eternal question mark in the skies. Her courage inspired generations of women to fly, to dream, to break barriers. Her disappearance sealed her immortality. One journalist wrote in 1937, "Perhaps it is fitting that Amelia, who lived her life in the sky, should find her final rest theirs, somewhere between the sea and the stars." Even today, the question lingers. What happened to Amelia Earhart? Did the ocean swallow her plane whole? Did she survive for a time on a lonely atoll? Or did secrets of war erase her from history's record? The answers may lie beneath miles of ocean water, or they may never be known. But Amelia once wrote, "Adventure is worthwhile in itself." Maybe that is the truest legacy of her final flight.